So usually around this time, we're just about a month away from a new Game of Thrones season. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen this year. Game of Thrones Season 7 has been delayed approximately 3.5 months. So that leaves all of us hardcore Game of Thrones fans like thriving to see footage for Game of Thrones Season 7. But that being said, we have been treated to some footage. We got a behind the scenes video that really teased the production aspect of the show, but didn't really give away much information. And then we also got 5 seconds of collective footage of Jon Snow, Arya, and Sansa Stark. And regardless of how long the footage was, the internet blew up. But thankfully this week, we got a couple little more bits that we can sink our teeth into. So in the last week or so, we got a clip of Lena Headey to get ready to play Queen Cersei. And also we got a look at Oathkeeper. But what I find interesting about these two pieces of footage is that they're released so close together, which to me clearly states that HBO is now looking into further marketing the show. The show premiere should be released in about 3.5 months. It's about June 25th. So I think now is the time to really start pushing the show to appeal to the fan base. But thankfully it looks like they're going to start doing that this weekend. The whole Game of Thrones team is going to South by Southwest. And South by Southwest is actually going to be from March 10th to the 12th. And what's even more interesting is that the first poster of Game of Thrones dropped. And it's not a picture of any characters or anything significant. It's just a poster that has the hashtag GOTS7. And this is actually a really significant poster, and it's very significant that they're rolling it out now. And that's because they're going to have this poster on display at South by Southwest, and they're going to be showing footage to the fans. And guess what? They're going to want people to hashtag GOTS7 and promote the show and what they saw at South by Southwest as much as possible. So now to the important question. What do I think that we're going to be getting this weekend from Game of Thrones Season 7? So I believe in order to look into the future, you really have to look at the past. Because I believe HBO is going to follow a very similar marketing campaign to what they did in Game of Thrones Season 6. However, there are a couple key differences. One, there's only 7 episodes this season. So there's less footage to promote. And number 2, there's the delay. We have about 3.5 more months to wait for Game of Thrones. So they might alter their marketing campaign just a little bit because of these factors. But with that being said, the marketing campaign for Game of Thrones Season 6 started with a video called "The Past is Already Written, the Ink is Dry." And the only thing new introduced in that footage was the voice of the Three-Eyed Raven. And that video was 4.5 months from the release of the show.
They have no idea what's going to happen.
And then 3 months before the release, we got the flag teases, where we saw 3 house banners waving in the wind with a voiceover.
Winterfell is mine. Come and see.
And then 2 months from release, we got the Hall of Faces. The first trailer was a month and 15 days from the premiere, and the second trailer was only 23 days from the premiere. And from then on, they only released small clips in order to promote the show. So looking at the way HBO usually markets their show is they push behind the scenes, and they also push professionally done teases like the Hall of Faces, where it doesn't show any new footage, but it provides enough new content to keep us Game of Thrones fans happy. They also keep the trailers really close to the release date. And that's a really smart marketing move because they already have a huge fan base, and what they want to do is they want to drive the buzz of the show as much as possible, as close as they can to the show, in order to get viewership. So what does this mean for Game of Thrones Season 7? When are we going to be seeing footage? And I'm telling you, we're going to see something this weekend. From March 10th to March 12th, we're going to see something drop. And that's based on the signs of the growing promotion. We see the Cersei promotion and the Oathkeeper promotion, as well as hashtag GOTS7. This shows that they're ramping up promotion, and they also want us, the fans, to promote it as much as possible. So this weekend, I think we can expect something pretty significant. And that's because Game of Thrones should be released a month from now. But unfortunately, we have to wait for another 3.5 months. So I think HBO is going to alter their marketing technique just a little bit in order to keep us interested. So first of all, I think we're going to see a professionally done teaser video, like with the Hall of Faces. We probably will hear new dialogue, and we may see some footage. And that could include longer shots to the footage that we've already seen, like the 2 seconds from Jon, Sansa, and Arya's stare. I can also pretty much guarantee that we're going to see a behind-the-scenes video, and it's just going to give a more in-depth look at the actors and their experience on the set, as well as the production with the crew. And I think this is about what we're going to see. However, it's a long shot, but we may see a small teaser drop in the next couple days. And I'm not talking about a full 2-minute trailer. I'm talking about a quick teaser that's 45 seconds to a minute long to make us really excited and speculate, and then they will drop a trailer expanding on the teaser footage later. So that raises the most important question. When are we going to get our first trailer? And I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be this weekend. and HBO is going to try as hard as they can to push it closer to the premiere. The first trailer for Game of Thrones Season 6 was released a month and 15 days before the premiere was aired. And I think for this season it won't be much different. However, I think it will be released a bit earlier. I think we can expect the first trailer to drop in late April or early May. But I personally am leaning more towards late April. And that's because they're going to drop the second trailer. And I think they're going to drop the second trailer late May, early June. And that's because HBO usually drops their final Game of Thrones trailer about 3 weeks from release in order to keep us interested. And then they probably will follow the same format and release clips from the first episode leading up to the premiere of Game of Thrones Season 7. But before I let you guys go, I have 2 simple questions that I want you to answer in the comment section down below. When do you guys think we will see the first trailer? And second question, it's a thinking question. Is there an underlying relation between Cersei's footage and the Oathkeeper footage released this week? I think I saw a couple connections. They're both Lannister related. It could represent alliances. They're both Lannister, however one side fights for the Starks, and that would be Brienne fighting with Oathkeeper. So I want to get you guys to speculate on if you think that means anything. And thirdly, I just want to rant for 2 seconds. I was going to have an amazing 20-minute video released today, talking about the plot leaks and everything that's going to be confirmed and everything that we can expect to see in Game of Thrones Season 7, episode by episode breakdown. Unfortunately, I finished editing and the file corrupted, so everything deleted. So I'm a little annoyed. It's okay though. I'm just going to have to re-edit it. It'll take me about 8 hours, so I'm going to work on that for you, and that'll be up I don't know when. Let's hope the file doesn't corrupt. But that's it for me today, and that's enough of my bitching. So until next time, I'll see you guys later.